Today we get to work on the chassis again. But before we can do that, we got to work on this. Now this is nothing but a bottom of a bird cage. I happen to have a friend who's like, hey Mike, you weld, right? I'm like, yeah, why? They're like, so I volunteer for a bird rescue and the macaws keep destroying the bird cages. So can you help us? I'm like, all right. And I had no idea a macaw could do this to these stainless steel cages. But these, they pinch them together and make them loose. Ready to tack this side down. I was really surprised on the strength of these birds' beaks. So I've done a couple of these. I figured I'd share with you guys now that, gives me a little more practice on my welding skills. Now I'm using my titanium welder, which you guys saw in my previous review of this, with some flex core stainless steel wire from the S welder that I picked up on Amazon Marketplace. I'll put a link down below for you if you guys are interested in picking up some of that for maybe some of your projects. But I figured it's good practice for me because I have a stainless steel exhaust that I need to do some work on still. And be able to throw some welds down with that will be greatly helpful, and a little practice beforehand never hurts. Alright, let's knock this bad boy out, then we can get to work on the chassis, because I got to work on getting a fuel system set up for this guy and possibly clean up some of this disaster that's now conglomerated around this guy. Let's get to it. So I thought I was done with this. Apparently not. As I was grinding, this came loose. So now I gotta tack these guys back in place and probably do the bottom ones as well. But I ran into a little problem. I can't use my welder right now because where's the plug? She's unplugged. But I plug her into my dryer port. When I thought I was done, I decided, well, let me go ahead and move the load of laundry that was in my washer into the dryer. So now I gotta wait until that's dry before I can finish this project. The joys of having a home garage. But in the downtime, I guess we'll talk about what we're gonna be doing to the chassis today. So we need to work on the fuel system, which you guys can see, I already have a nice Aeromotive fuel tank right here with the electric pump and everything. Now, I chose this for a couple reasons. So let's start from the very beginning here, because the original F100 gas tank is an option that I could have used for this project. Except there's one major thing that I don't like about it. Well, I guess there's two really. First off, this is a gas tank back here in the cab. Not a big deal, but I'm not thrilled about it, so I don't want to use that. Plus, it has the problem that the Camaro has. If you take a turn too fast, all the fuel sloshes to one side because there's no baffling, and it shuts off. Given that this is going to be more of a race truck, street truck, but more of a performance truck, I guess, I don't want that. So this tank has all the baffling and everything in it. The other option I could have had, because I had another gas tank too, was the factory gas tank from the Mercury Grand Marquis that I ripped apart here, that actually sat vertically right here. And that would have worked good. It had the built-in baffling, electric fuel pump, that would actually work with this engine with no problems. Except, I'm trying to minimize the hump that's going to be in the bed of the truck. So when I put the body on here, the bed is actually going to sit lower than here. So this hump will be in the middle of the bed. And I'm trying to minimize that as much as possible, so I didn't want to have that here. Now I do have plans in the future to actually get rid of this hump. That's way down the road. Those are still dreams and hopes at that point. So I opted to go ahead and go with this Aeromotive gas tank, which is actually for a 1969 Mustang, 340 liter pump an hour. I'll put the full link down below from Summit Racing or Aeromotive, whoever I can find it for, down below for everybody to check out if you want to check it out for your particular build. The fuel pump is actually located, well, the connections are where are you? Somewhere around here. I can't get underneath there to see it, but fuel pump's here with a nice basket and everything. And initially, when I put this together, I'm going to just run the hose here with a cap right in the bed. But that's not going to be its final location. That's just going to be to get the truck running. I want this truck running. sooner than later. I am just about to the point where I need to rip this guy apart and start moving the body over here and fabricate my steel beams. I also chose this option for another reason, being the fact that this chassis is designed for a unibody vehicle, and the truck is not a unibody. The chassis is actually kind of weak. It'll flex and twist. I don't want that. I want it to be more solid, so I need to add more reinforcements. And part of that is adding this gas tank here with these two heavy-duty 2x3 box tubing. I mean, I went and got some nice 1/8" thick steel here for this project. This was actually, oopsie, I cut it too short for this here. So, because this section, actually from this line, is going to get cut off from the backside, so that way the bed can sit just below here. Then I can find a way to mount a bumper bracket, whatever. That's too far down the road for me to care right now. So this is here. Add these here. This one's being propped up with my jack and transmission jack and this can. But this one is held up with nothing. I actually crammed it in here, and it doesn't move. Kind of a problem. Need to fix that. I need to grind it down some more to get it to fit so I can weld it in. One other thing here is, as I do this, I'm actually going to go ahead and add this, some rubber stripping with some glue on the backside that I'll add across here. Then I'll drill a couple holes. Not all of these holes here, but probably 3 on this side, 3 on this side, where I'll insert some nutserts, put the rubber strip across here, and then bolt this down in place, and then it will be set. Then I just need to figure out how to connect the connections from the front of here, of the gas tank, to that line there, which I think was an evap line, but it's going to become a fuel return line once I cut that off and add the fitting, and to my main line here, which hopefully I can add quick disconnects and everything. Now, I know some people might say, hey, if you do it this way, then you can't take the bed off without taking the gas tank off. Let's try that again. You can't take the gas tank out unless you take the bed of the truck off. And I thought about it, and I debated. I can actually mount this from the underside and put some straps under it, because it does have the option for to put the straps on above. I could have got it like a universal kit and put it there. I'm staying away from that for now. I'm not saying I may not do it in the future, but this will work. And to be honest, I'm building this so that way I don't have to take this out ever again. That's the whole plan. It goes in once, and if it ever comes out, I have bigger problems than worry about taking the bed off. Plus, the other option I have is the fact that this is a top-load fuel pump. I can always unscrew this, slide it out, replace the fuel pump without having to change everything else. So maybe I'll just give myself a little access door. I don't know. Haven't got that far. Either way, I think I thought this through enough. I hope. We're going to find out. And yeah, well, let me see if I can get this. I'm pointing to stuff and you can't see it. You gotta throw me. If I can get this bar out of here so I can grind it so it's not putting tension on here. Because right now it's in here so tight that I feel like it's actually putting pressure on the chassis here, pushing it out. And I don't want that. I want it to be more of a relaxed state here. So I need to grind off this like 1/8 of an inch, so that way it fits flush, but not tight, snug. Oh, I'm gonna fall over. I almost died from my mounts. Let's go ahead and get this guy out of here so I can grind on it and weld it in, and hopefully by the time I get that done, my dryer will be done so I can weld that, swap this back over to steel so I can weld this. And now my ear is ringing really, really badly. It's now in place. Still under a little bit of tension, but much better than it was. That beam across here just tumbled off. I mean, there's the can that was on. So, I mean, yeah, that's how it kind of landed. That would have been a really bad ouchie. Wouldn't have been fun. Proper shoes, be good. But, you know, sneaks work well too. I mean, a little protection, I guess. I don't know. But before I can go any further on this guy, I heard the dryer beep. So that means I can plug the welder back in and get this done. Woohoo! All mocked up. Looks kind of similar to what it was before, but this time now is where it needs to be. I have leveled it out. That way it is level this way. And as close as I can get it this way, because it is actually a little bit off, but I'm running out of room because I want to be able to have a solid weld across here. The hole here is fine, but the bottom side is the issue where I want to make sure I can get it right on the very edge here and get a solid weld. The front is no problem. There's plenty of meat here and on the bottom at the very corner of that frame on both sides. Time to put some tacks in it and finalize everything from there and then burn it in. Set fire to some stuff that was in that box. That was a fun little ordeal. So now it's just a paper towel, so lucky me. But that's also right next to a bunch of, paint and a torque converter with, trans fluid that can ignite, oil fill. It would have been a really bad time if that went up completely. So if you're welding, pay attention to your surrounding areas, because that could be a problem. I was also realized just now, as I'm talking to you, that I was also welding right next to some aerosol paint cans and paint thinner. Not my brightest moment ever. Not even close. But the tops of the welds are done, so bam. Look at that. Looking good. And don't get me wrong, they could be better. Not the best welds I've ever laid out, but they're gonna hold. Throw the gas tank in here real quick and verify everything didn't move and it's all good to go. Then I can burn in the rest all the way around, and I will never show you the bottom welds because they're probably not gonna be pretty. But I'm really good at grinding. It's been a few days since I've recorded anything, and that's because Hurricane Milton decided to go and just barrel right through my state. Yeah, so the eye actually ended up coming right over my house. Luckily, I'm on the East Coast, not the West Coast, so we weakened a lot before it got to me. But yeah, that was an ordeal for that whole thing. Luckily I had generators and shutters and all that, but I had to make sure, like the generator needed to be running, because I was for sure I was going to lose power, and I didn't lose any power at all to the whole thing. So lucky for me, because normally I get a strong wind gust and the power goes out in the house. So apparently FPL has fixed it. Thanks FPL or Duke Energy or whoever the heck services my area for all this stuff, and to any linemen out there who are going through and helping in all the efforts for the hurricanes through South Carolina, North Carolina, all the southeast region of the United States right now. Appreciate you. Thank you. I'm all for the trades. I want to support the trades. I think you guys are awesome and making this country still run. Thank you much. I highly appreciate it. So back to the whole car stuff. What we are all here for. Working on the F100. I ran into other problems with that too. That I was trying to finish up the welding on the gas tank and stuff over here. Get all this stuff squared away, but I ran into two problems. First problem was ran out of the welding wire. So I got the tops and bottoms welded, but not the sides. And I used to always run these little spools like this guy right here on the welder, but I ran out and I didn't want to get any more until I used up all the little ones. Now this specific one is a flux core, which I'll save around for whenever I need to do a project that's not at my house, so I don't want to bring the welding bottle and all that. So I usually always use the solid core for that, so I will need welding gas for anybody who doesn't know, who's never welded before. Flux core wires for welding out without the welding gas, but it adds an extra layer of having to clean the welds up and everything like that I don't want to mess with. I want faster production, so I use welding gas. So that means I had to get a new spool, and luckily my new welder can use the big spools. So this hopefully should last me through the entirety of this project, or at least the majority of it. Anyways, because this thing is an 11-pound spool, solid core 030 wire, Other little issue I ran into was my old welding jacket. I went to take it off after I got done recording and everything from the last little bit, and all the buttons ripped off. Yeah. It was getting a little small, you know. I grew up a little bit since then. You know, I bought it 20 years ago. You know, I didn't grow taller, I grew wider, but hey, whatever. It happens. But that means I need a new one. So, new toys. So I actually went and ordered one from Yes Welder, who are the guys who make my welding helmet. I was happy with the welding helmet, so I'm like, yeah, sure. I even picked up some new welding gloves from Yes Welder, because mine were getting a little crunchy. Like, I could barely bend my fingers anymore because I had burned the living crud out of them when I did welding classes years ago. God, jeez, welding class was like 18 years ago. Ugh. I'm the old man of YouTube. I'm back. So I picked up a Yes Welder welding jacket, and this is not it. The Yes Welder jacket, even though I measured everything out, not even close. I ordered the biggest size that they had, which I believe was a 2X. Put it on, and I got to here, and I couldn't button it. And not even close. Like, when I actually got buttoned up, it might as well have been wearing a corset at that point because it was that tight. I probably should have taken a picture of it and put it on TikTok or something, but yeah, I didn't do that because I was kind of embarrassed by that one. But I ended up picking up this 4X jacket, which is literally the biggest piece of clothing I've ever purchased. I've never bought anything this size before. But it fits. It fits fine. Only gripe is the sleeves are a little bit long for what it is, but whatever, I could deal with that. And I didn't go with the super thick one because Florida is really, really hot. And it's a black stallion with FR rating. So, and I like the fact that this one has more of a collar to help, thicker collar than the last one. So when I'm underneath welding, which will probably happen a lot on this particular project, I don't have to worry about burning this because I have done that plenty of times and it hurts. This is kind of sensitive. So yeah, that's the thing. Back to the project. Welding's done. Now I just need to work on marking out the holes. They're already done. So I got that guy there. That guy over there. So I'm going to use 4 bolts. And I'm going to use a rib nut set that I picked up off Amazon. 100% honesty here, I have never installed any rib nuts before. But I assume for this particular project, this particular application, this should work fine. I'll put a link for the kit down below also for if you guys wish to pick up this same kit I did. And let's go ahead and drill some holes. Woo! 1. Alright, that should be good. Woo! That is in there. This bit. This might be my new favorite tool. I don't know. Something I didn't consider was that these are raised up a little bit. And I thought that might actually be a bit of a problem. I'm like, uh-oh. That's not going to sit flat because I wanted the whole lip on this to sit across the cross members. But now I won't be doing that. It'll be sitting on the raised lip of these guys. Then I remembered, oh yeah, that's right. It's not going to be metal-metal contact anyways, because I went and bought some nice rubber stripping that will help take up that slack and make it nice and flush all the way across and keep it from rubbing metal on metal. Now let's put this guy on. Buy yourself a really good set of drill bits. These things cut really, really good. These are a set of Matco drill bits that I picked up years ago. They still work great. Look how clean the hole is. I mean, oh, maybe not as nice, but this guy, oof, that came out good. Now let's put it back in place. Let's make sure all the holes line up correctly now because I actually didn't check that. And I inserted everything already, so fingers crossed. Say, you know, measure twice, cut once. Okay, close enough, the bolts will go in. Woo! All right. Now we gotta paint. There she is, all painted and looking good. Not going nowhere, so we're gonna add this ground strap here at some point. Not high on my list because I still gotta make the connections to the primary fuel line and the return line here. That's for another video. But yeah, it took me a few days to get this done, longer than I actually wanted to, but that's the name of the game when it comes to stuff like this. You know, gotta work on the house, clean the garage, life. That's how it goes. But we're gonna end off here. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching all the way till the end. Until next time, go work on your own cars. Peace.